All right, UFC Vegas 42, Max Holloway versus Yair Rodriguez is in the books. Another, I would say this is three straight really, really good events for the UFC in a row. You know, going back to Jan and then Usman Covington and now this one. So we'll pick right up from the main event. Yair makes his return after about 2 years, hadn't fought. 6 months due to a USADA suspension because they couldn't find him to test him. Whether he did anything or not, I don't know. But he makes his return. And then to make a return against Max Holloway, yeah, they still had Yair ranked third, but still, I mean, to not fight for 2 years and then to fight someone like Holloway, it's going to be a tough ask, which is partially, I would assume, why the lines were minus 700 Holloway plus 500 Yair, which I thought was nuts anyway. Like, I understand he's been gone 2 years. I understand Holloway is Holloway, but that is absurd. Yes, the minus 700 hit, but if it's a horrible value. I took Yair just because I'm like, this is a good value, so I'm just gonna throw this in. And there were parts of there was times where it was looking like, wait, this might have been a steal of a line. The first round starts very. I mean, the whole fight was competitive, but the first round I thought was Yair's, which two judges actually did not see it that way, which I don't agree. Do you have the round by round breakdown we can pull up
for the scorecards or for?
Yeah, no, just the metrics, like the.
You're talking about this thing right here.
Yeah, because I didn't understand how we had two judges score round. I thought round one was the clear one he won. Like if you're going to score 49-46, I would think round one's the one you give to him. All right, maybe not as clear as I was remembering. But I thought it seemed to me like, that was Yair's round. But yeah, the numbers show 38, 37, 38 is red as max.
Red as max.
Yeah, so it was a close round, but I thought you could maybe make the case 1 and 5 for Yair and then the rest for Max. But what kind of, how did you feel seeing Yair after a couple of years and just how the fight panned out overall?
So this was my first time seeing him fight, and I really didn't know what to expect because I hadn't gone back and watched any tape or anything on the guy. So I was really impressed, to say the least. And I've said several times before that, fighters say that, ring rust isn't a thing. It's not a thing. It's mental. Damn, dude. Yair proved it. I usually don't believe that, but the way he was fighting in there was as if he had just fought a couple months ago or something. It was incredible to see, actually. I think we got treated.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I thought he was very crisp, and what I was wondering is because he also had a bout with COVID, so I was also wondering, how's he going to be able to keep up? Because Max can go the distance. He's shown it multiple times, and he goes, and his tank very little bit diminishes. Like he goes pretty comfortably 5 rounds. You're not going to have him panting and not moving. So as getting into the second and third, Yair, to me, was looking a little bit tired, but he was still keeping up. Like he wasn't he wasn't unable to do anything, but it seemed like he was slowing down. But he was able to he kept pace with them the 5 rounds. So I thought that was another really impressive thing. Again, sprinkle in the COVID thing, sprinkle in no 2 years he didn't fight, and then to be able to go over the full 5 rounds and you won the 5th round per couple of, I think, all or some of the judges. So I think Holloway's stock, of course, didn't go down. It was already pretty high, so I don't know how much more room it had to go. I think Yair's goes up because it was a question mark of should he have even still been ranked? Should he have been fighting Holloway after not fighting for 2 years? Like, was that warranted? Holloway is only 1 fight removed from a title fight coming into this. Did it make sense to just give him the Holloway? And I don't know if it necessarily made sense to give it to him in the sense based on merit, but in terms of performance, yeah, definitely did.
So it's interesting to me that they would keep these rankings as long as they do. Like another case where rankings have been held for going on a couple of years now is look at Leon Edwards. What was it? At least 2-year layoff, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me double check, but his wasn't. I think his was. I don't really remember. I don't know the full thing with Yair's, but I know part of Leon's layoff wasn't because he was just like, no, I'm not fighting. It was COVID-related travel issues with him being in the UK and all that. So it wasn't a matter of him just sitting on his hands.
So he just kept getting screwed over like he did again.
And again, it happened. Yeah. So that one, I don't really fault that, but
In any case,
Yeah,
the point that I was gonna make wasn't so much that he's it's his fault or it isn't. The point I was making was, okay, regardless of whose fault it is, you're ranked. There are people that are fighting in the division. You're not fighting. And especially in some of these really competitive divisions, I feel like it sucks to have to hold it up because one guy, can't get to the fights. And it's also sucks for the guy that can't get to the fights, but there's other people in here. There's hundreds of fighters now. It's not fair to them either to continue to keep things tied up. So yeah, I mean, and the other point that I was going to make is look at Leon's comeback. I didn't really think much of it. I thought it was kind of a subpar performance
against Nate.
Against Nate. Yeah, I mean, that's Nate Diaz. So the way I mean, again, like you compare that to Max versus Yair, actually, in terms of celebrityism. I think Nate has a little bit more, but
For sure.
I think Holloway's definitely up there as well. So
Yeah.
for me to one them is, I think, fair. I can do that in terms of, the eyes that you would expect to have on the match. And I definitely think Yair completely demolished, dude. He outperformed, what you would typically see from a fighter coming back from that kind of layoff. And I want to point something out. We'll probably dig into it a little bit more, but Yair's strategy I found really, really intelligent, where he just started chopping at Holloway's leg, just eating that thing up, because he recognized early on that if he lets Holloway close in, that boxing is going to put some damage on him. And so using the leg kicks as a strategy to keep Holloway kind of fatigued, harder to make it so that Holloway can hold his stances to really, throw punches by grinding that front leg into the mat and leading in. Intelligent, man. Very intelligent. You saw what happened to his foot after the match was over. It was just gone.
There was a ball in there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so
I think that ends up explaining why he kind of stopped throwing them, because I was watching. I mean, because first round I think was the heaviest round on the leg kicks. We can confirm here. So you'll go for you pull up the foot. Yeah, right there is that third one's a nasty one. Oh my goodness.
Oh my god, this is post.
What's that first one? Woo!
This is post, I guess, when they got to the hospital. That swelling is insane. Sorry, guys. Let me try to give you guys a better picture.
That's awful.
Oh man.
And he finished the fight. and his movement was, I wouldn't have guessed his foot obviously wasn't looking like that exactly, but I wouldn't have guessed his foot was that compromised based on, again, he was hanging, throwing spinning kicks, jumping knees, all this stuff. Goes to obviously, adrenaline and all, but still, you often also see it where sometimes you can clearly tell they're hobbled. You can clearly tell they're laboring. And also credit to Max too. There was a brief moment in between rounds, I think, when he was walking to his corner where it looked like he had a little bit of a hobble. But after that, he still moved. Again, both of them were moving just fine. I mean, Dana said after too, he's like, this guy's in the back walking around just fine, saying his foot's good. Not his foot, sorry. I'm talking about Max. Max saying like his leg is fine and he's able to move.
Did we ever get clarification on, so you remember that giant lump that was on Max's right rib cage? Do we know what happened there? Because that thing started looking really gnarly.
During the fight.
During the fight, yeah.
I think that was from the kicks that Yair was like. That was early. It was early on, but no, I didn't hear Dana say anything about it.
Because I thought he may have fractured a rib
when they sent him to the hospital, but I didn't hear anything additional about that.
Gotcha.
But I don't know, maybe cracked rib at most, if anything. But
yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe a fractured or cracked rib or something like that.
Yeah. Regardless, I would assume Yair was going to be put on a 6-month suspension because the foot's like that. So, which is unfortunate, because especially after seeing that, you're like, dude, I want to see him and Max, of course, not necessarily them, but you want to see both of them in the Octagon at some point soon. Max will be there sooner, you would assume. But then for Yair, you just fought once after 2 years. And at this, given the foot, you would assume at best he fights one time next year. Because we're already end of this year. Let's assume there's going to be a 6-month suspension. That brings you to May. And then that's already almost halfway through the year. Maybe 2 fights if we're lucky. But at I think probably most likely if we see him, it'll be just once, but which is unfortunate because I want to see him do something again. Because and you're mentioning the kicks being a way to keep the Max at bay for the boxing, but when they were boxing, he was hanging just fine.
Oh, absolutely.
He was hanging just fine.
Yeah, he
And he
was.
was landing some good shots right back too. Both of them did, and it was almost like an inconvenience for both of them. They would just get hit, their head would sometimes cock back or get whiplashed, and then just bring it right back and just keep coming at each other. So it was an incredibly competitive fight.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if I agreed with the 49-46. I do agree that Max was the winner, but regardless, the outcome correct, the scorecards itself, maybe there's some room for debate there, but overall, I think that was scored. Well, obviously the victor is correct, but we were very lucky to have that.
The 49-46, I'm not in agreement with either. I think you're probably spot on. I would have given the first to Yair, and I would have given the last to Yair as well. So I think, what is that, a 48-47?
Yeah, I knew actually one guy for sure was going to give it at least 4. When I told Pasta right before they announced, I was like, it's 49-46, 48-47, 48-47. And they said, yeah. I figured it would. There's going to be one guy that deviates, but the final numbers don't do it justice. You look at it: 230 significant strikes for Max, and 159 for Yair. Both totals individually in like any other fight are, you would assume that person won. Max, this isn't uncharacteristic of him, of course, with the output, but the 230 to 159, that's almost 100 strikes more, but it was not like there wasn't that level of discrepancy in the fight. Like you wouldn't have felt it.
Well,
like,
here's where it started to deviate. You could see in round 3, Max's output just kind of well, it's not that almost Max's output skyrocketed. Yair's seemed to have dipped. And then if we come down, I think round 4
was around 2 and 3. I want to say, I'm not sure if Yair explicitly said when it happened, but now you see round 4 again, about a 20 advantage.
Yeah.
And what did round 5 end up? Because a couple of
very close, very competitive.
No, still 53-36 on the strikes. I mean, so
yeah, I'm looking at totals. I'm looking at totals. So if you look at total, they both threw roughly the same in round 5, whereas in rounds 3 and 4, Yair threw significantly less. He didn't even attempt.
Yeah. I mean, that was an absolute war. That got fight of the night. Max, at this point, looks like it's going to be him and Volkanovski.
So on that note, I heard him say something about Conor.
Yeah, because they fought almost 10 years ago at this point. Conor took that one, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, he did. I could double check. I guess they've been going back and forth on Twitter. I don't really follow social media stuff that much. If I hear about it, then I know. So they were talking about that yesterday, that they've been going back and forth on. Yeah, so they went August 17, 2013, Conor and Max fought, and Conor won by decision.
I actually think that would be an amazing matchup. And I think that would be an amazing matchup. And hear me out. Max is going to get paid if that fight gets booked. B, they're both boxers. Max is apparently the best boxer alive, right? And Conor McGregor seems to think he's one of the best boxers alive. Hey, Conor's leg is compromised, but his fists seem fine. I mean, throw them in the ring, let them swing at each other. That might be a really, really interesting matchup.
Are you saying it's a boxing match?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's not happening. Dana already said no.
No, I mean, like within the octagon, you stick them in the octagon.
Also, it's an MMA match, not a boxing.
Yeah, no,
I'm saying as a boxing fight.
Yeah, but you know how it goes. You know, gentleman's agreement. Like,
oh, I got you. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
I mean,
it's
I don't
MMA,
think
but
there's really going to be that many people that wouldn't want to see that. But in terms of
that would sell.
If that's like a one-off thing, for sure. But if we're gonna try and like implement that into like the title picture, stuff like that,
no.
It has no. It's kind of like how the.
Are you kidding me? I don't think Conor has a title. I don't think Conor has a path to the title at this point. So it would be more like let's get Max.
Well, he always has a path. He always
shouldn't.
He has a Irish privilege, the Conor Irish privilege. But yeah, for sure that would actually. I was gonna say for sure it'll be entertaining, but at this point, like Max is still very at his prime, and Conor has been like, yeah, he's lost those last 2 fights, but it wasn't like he was getting blown out the water. He was showing, he was winning parts of that fight, so it's not like Conor's like, oh, he's washed, he's done. I don't think that. I've seen that said here and there, and I don't necessarily agree with it because he was performing fine. the last fight, I thought he was winning that round if I'm remembering right, and then he just broke his foot because he broke his foot. Well, his foot got jacked up. He ended up on the ground. I don't know why he went for that guillotine, but when he was on his feet, it's not like it was he was completely trash. So
I kind of remember that a
he could
little
be able to hang,
differently.
but I would actually assume Max would win that fight.
I don't know. I kind of remember that a little bit. Yeah, well, I agree with you. I think Max would win that fight as well. But in terms of the Conor v Poirier, both of them, I thought that Poirier was just rocking him on the feet. Because remember, we were watching that together, the latest
The
one.
second more so than the third, I would say. The second more so than the third. I thought, again, I might be remembering completely wrong. We've seen so many fights. Look, we've been spoiled to see so many fights over the last, what was it? That was in July they fought. So yeah, in the 4 months since, especially we got like 6 straight weeks of fights in a row we just went through. But from what I was remembering, I thought Conor was doing fine. And I'm talking about the third fight now, that he was looking fine. And then when he went down, I think he was, because he went for the guillotine or whatever, that was stupid. But otherwise, when he was on the feet, I thought they were hanging fine. But then I don't know why I did that.
There was a point I remember where I was screaming out at the TV, "Not again, not again, not again," because he started dropping the same way that he went down in the second fight that he had with Dustin. And I don't know, man. I think that it would be a cool matchup, not because there should be a belt in the picture, but I think, it's good for both fighters.
Just as a one-off.
Yeah, they're both going to get paid.
Build it around, yeah, for sure.
It's going to be a boxing match. It's going to be boxing, unless Conor decides to pull some shady bullshit, but... Yeah.
No, they'll sprinkle in. I mean, it'll be mostly on the feet for sure, and like not just on the feet, but like hands only. But yeah, let them sprinkle in the kicks and all that, whatever might be the case. But I think what is surprise? I think that's maybe later down the line because Conor is still. I don't know where he is on the rehab. If he fights once next year, I think that's already a pretty good for him, given how bad that injury looked. And he's already been training and stuff. But I don't know if he's like 100% mobile in terms of, I can jog, I can run. I don't know about all that.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, if we're assuming Max is also going to get a 6-month layoff, I mean, he may get a shorter one, but Conor was, I think, I forgot where I read it or somebody told me that we're looking at another 6 months before Conor is like fully recovered. So
I think that'd be pretty remarkable. That seems pretty quick. Another 6 months would put him at a little shy of a year.
In terms of like a full recovery?
Yeah, dude, did you see his foot? His leg?
Yeah.
It was snapped. It was snapped in half.
It's Conor McGregor. He'll sprinkle a little bit of proper 12 on it and it'll be good to go, man.
Smack him on the ass, be like, get out of here. You're good. I think, though, before that even happens, there's plenty of time to make it work with Volkanovski. And Volkanovski, after he beat Ortega, was saying, like, dude, like, I want to stay active. I think he was, I don't know if he did it or not, but he was contemplating staying in the States so that he has that, he's agile. He has the mobility to be able to, we're trying to book it at this point. Cool. So I don't have to get in and out of, I was going to say Venezuela for some reason, in and out of New Zealand. So I don't know. I think it's more likely we see the trilogy of Holloway and Volkanovski before we see anything, if we were to see anything with Holloway and Conor. But I'm more than happy to see Volkanovski and Holloway again, And I'm glad that Volkanovski's not being like, at this point, after Max now won 2 fights in a row after they lost, I'm glad that Volkanovski's not like, no, I'm not going to fight him. I already beat him twice. Let it be someone else. I like that. Even after his win against Ortega, he's like, yeah, it makes sense. If Max wins again, I think it makes sense for us to run it back. So I do appreciate that. And I agree with you. But yeah, I think any final things for you on the main event, Holloway and Rodriguez?
No, we pretty much said it all. Thank you, UFC. Thank you, Dana. 50K.
Yeah, Dana, 50K, please. And
they did take a fight of the night, right? Yeah, fight of the night went to Max and Yair.
Yeah. Alrighty.